Well, never mind all that stuff, because COVID also taught Sunny Hostin how to get her groceries delivered. Yeah, I know, amazing. But that means it's time for...
Living your life and you're feeling low. You don't know what is true. You don't know what's true. So you quick flip through the channels to watch Sunny on The View. Oh my God, the stuff she says is dumb. Where the hell they get this woman from? She's a host who's always crass and lame, with lots of nonsense to proclaim.
There's a sound humans make that isn't really a sound at all. It's silence. That frozen half second between I've got this and oh no, the tiny vacuum, where the brain finally catches up and realizes the receipts have arrived. On one very ordinary Tuesday morning, that silent little implosion happened inside Sunny Hostin's head. Live TV. ABC, millions watching. No commercial break to bail her out. No earpiece whispering a rescue line. Just Sunny, a hot mic, and Greg Gutfeld sitting across from her with the calm energy of a man who came really prepared. What unfolded in the next 2 minutes didn't just trend, it permanently changed how America looks at The View. And the strangest part? The story didn't end when the cameras stopped. That's when it got weirder. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll see the side of daytime TV that was never meant to be shown.
I make fun of The View a lot, but that's only because they keep talking. Those hens are always clucking. They get to say stupid stuff for an hour every day, and then I get to say stupid stuff for an hour every day, except on purpose. But every now and then, one of those dingbats inadvertently says something that reveals modern liberal thought so perfectly it deserves further study. You know, like a weird serpent that washed up on the beach and you want to poke it with a stick.
Let's set the table. The View isn't a talk show, it's a group chat that somehow landed a broadcast deal. 5 women, 1 round table, an audience trained to clap on cue, and roughly the ideological diversity of a college faculty lounge. Sunny Hostin sits at the center of it, wearing the crown of resident legal mind, Harvard degree, former federal prosecutor, and, as it turns out, wildly inconsistent under pressure. On paper, she's the intellectual heavyweight. On camera, she's the one who mistakes volume for logic. That Tuesday, she walked onto set the way she always does, polished, poised, ready to lecture America about democracy. What she didn't realize is that she wasn't walking into a segment, she was walking into a setup.
So, Sunny, I bet you haven't been in a supermarket since COVID for about 3 years.
I haven't been in a supermarket since COVID. For about 3 years. That's when I discovered Instacart, and I give them a big tip because they don't always pay their people well, and it's so that's been an issue, I think, for the company. But man, you can get toiletries, you can get fire logs. You know those big Bounty towels you don't want to carry. Those from Costco. Somebody else goes.
Fire logs? She had to tell the audience that she tips big because even she knows she sounds insufferable. Hey, I'm an but at least I tip.
Then in walked Gutfeld. And here's what people underestimate about him: he doesn't debate like a pundit. He debates like the quiet uncle at Christmas dinner who lets everyone talk themselves into a hole for 2 hours, and then ends the entire conversation with one sentence. Slouched, half smirking, looking almost bored, until he isn't. He didn't bring insults to that table. He didn't bring volume. He brought something far more lethal: Sunny's own greatest hits. Clips, quotes, dates, time-stamped receipts. It wasn't a debate, it was a deposition. Sunny gave him that practiced, media-trained smile, the "oh honey, I eat guys like you for breakfast" smile. It had an expiration date of about 90 seconds, because Gutfeld wasn't there to trade jabs. He was there to take the whole thing apart, screw by screw.
Hostin's obsession with race gets thrown back in her face. Today's video comes to us from Sunny Hostin. Sounds like a town. We're in Sunny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from Europe. Here's how she took
The opening blow was almost gentle. Gutfeld pulled up a monologue Sunny had delivered months earlier, a passionate little speech about how disagreement is the lifeblood of democracy. Then, in the same flat tone, he rolled the clip of her, 3 weeks later, calling half the country a threat to that exact same democracy. And the room stopped. Not the polite kind of quiet, the other kind. The silence that means everyone just saw something they can't unsee. Sunny blinked, shifted, tried to laugh, but it cracked on the exhale. That single microsecond flinch became the frame the internet would loop for the next 3 days. It wasn't losing an argument. It was watching a persona come loose at the seams. And once that happens on live TV, no amount of makeup puts it back together.
Wow. I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. And I think it's great for our children to know this information. I guess it's a fact of life that this is how some people made their living, on the backs of others.
Fact of life. Interesting change of tune. For more, we go to our chief Sunny Hostin correspondent for a reaction.
But he was just warming up. Next, Gutfeld queued up Sunny's weepy sermon about family separations at the border, the one where she called the policy a moral stain on America. Then, without warning, he rolled her more recent take on the identical policy under a different administration. Suddenly, the stain had faded. It was now complex. It required nuance. It couldn't be judged without full context. Same fences, same children, same policy. A completely renovated Sunny. You could see the shift in real time. Whoopi's eyes flicked to the side. Joy suddenly discovered something urgent to read in her notes.
Oh, I'm gonna milk this till the end of time. You're right. Anytime she says something stupid, I'm gonna go, slave owner! Kat, I just watched that. That's the second time I've watched that. She was tipped off beforehand, right? Because they had to tell her before, so she had time to regroup. They wouldn't just surprise. Do you think? No?
I don't know. I feel like she could have maybe done better. Okay.
That's when the ground gave out. Within about a minute and a half, the clip was already sliced, subtitled, and racing across every platform that has ever existed. A split screen of Sunny's two contradictory takes captioned "Pick a Lane." Sis cleared 4 million views before the segment even wrapped. Someone had already sketched a fake courtroom drawing of her testifying against herself. A TikToker synced her flinch to the Inception boom. And in some dorm room somewhere, a 19-year-old with Adobe Premiere was crafting the meme that would haunt her for the rest of her professional life. The internet didn't respond. It feasted, and she still had 40 minutes of live television to survive.
I think that women, white women in particular, want to protect the patriarchy here because it's to their benefit.
Yeah.
They want to make sure that their husbands do well. They want to make sure that their sons do well. They want to make sure that their children do well. And they want to make sure that they do well. Most of the women in some of these studies are married white women, and they do fall in line with what their husbands are doing.
People have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions?
Yeah.
Like you said, it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say on The View, because without it, she's got nothing up.
And then, right on schedule, the tears arrived. Perfectly timed, almost suspiciously so. Sunny's voice started to quiver, her eyes glossed over, and just like that, the topic wasn't contradictions anymore. It was how dare you? How dare he challenge her? How dare he cite her own words? How dare he treat a professional commentator like a professional commentator? The reframe happened at warp speed. Within seconds, a calm fact check had somehow been rebranded as an attack on women, on minorities, on working mothers, and probably on puppies too if she'd had another 10 seconds. It's the oldest playbook move in daytime TV. When the argument's lost, drown it in enough emotion that no one can hear the argument anymore.
Joy Behar gets racism. After all, she's been black on Halloween. Yeah. But Joy wasn't there on the show. Apparently Mondays are her days off when she feeds in the pasture. But that is convenient, right? It's like one of my aunts dies every time Bran Kilmeade wants to hang out. Maybe Joy needs a full day to read her hate mail, and that's just from the rest of the cast. So Scott had to deal with Sunny Hostin and her typical self-righteousness.
And that's the moment the panel snapped into formation the way flocks of birds move as one when danger appears. Whoopi swooped in with one of those vague, matriarchal proverbs that sounds meaningful for 2 seconds and then evaporates. Joy tried to yank the topic back to Trump, and even that lifeline slipped through her fingers. Sarah Haynes nodded along with the kind of solemn expression usually reserved for a coworker's cat's funeral. It wasn't a rescue. It was a choreographed emotional embrace, performed for the cameras. The audience clapped exactly when the applause sign told them to. But underneath the noise, you could feel it. Something had shifted in that studio. And everyone knew it, they just weren't allowed to say the words out loud.
Like this chick, we didn't think it was the best thing that could have happened to us. Although it did get Joy Behar to wear a mask. You make me sick. It's funny, her being named Joy is like me being named Ugly.
Here's what didn't make it to broadcast. The instant they cut to commercial, backstage went nuclear. Producers barking into headsets. An assistant sprinting a fresh coffee to Sunny. Another one physically stationed between Gutfeld and the table to keep him from wandering back over. Rumors immediately began flying, pull the segment from the rerun, run it past legal. Is Sunny even coming back after the break? And in the middle of that whirlwind, Gutfeld was doing exactly what you'd expect. Sipping water, scrolling his phone, bored because he hadn't attacked her. He hadn't mocked her. He'd simply held her own words up to her face, and somehow that turned out to be the most devastating thing that had happened on that stage in nearly 3 decades.
Did you watch the whole thing or just the parts that I sent you?
I watched it. Obviously, just the parts that you said. Did I watch a whole episode of The View?
No woman can do that unless you're stupid. But
I have a job.
Here's the thing. How can they call themselves progressives when they keep saying that nothing has progressed? Then it's on them.
Right. I just wish I could have, would have watched if I could, would have been Joy Behar watching that.
Yes.
And being like, I totally made the right call. It was not an accident that they had him there on her day off. Yes. When she was, presented herself as the, expert on systemic racism.
By the time credits hit, the internet had already delivered its ruling, and Sunny wasn't on the winning side. Hashtags were trending in 3 separate countries. Reaction streamers were breaking down the clip before dinner. Conservatives were popping bottles. Liberals were suddenly very interested in other topics. The neutrals were making popcorn gifs. 40 million views by midnight. But the twist that stung the most? Even her usual defenders vanished. The verified accounts that normally rushed to her rescue suddenly had conflicts. The op-eds that usually surface within hours got delayed, rewritten, watered down. Nobody wanted to publicly go to bat for a contradiction that was now permanently embedded in meme history. When even your allies go dark, that's not damage control, that's an obituary being quietly drafted in the next room.
People have to wonder, where does Sunny Hostin get her opinions? Yeah. Like you said, and it's obviously from her husband. She has to tell her what to say on The View, because without it, she's got nothing up there. She's not very bright. But the problem with her is that she went full racist. She injected skin color into a fairly generic behavior seen in all spouses, regardless of skin color. People marry, they listen to each other, they have something in common with them, they share their political views. She just didn't want to upset her husband by saying her husband makes her do everything, and then she'd have to accuse him of being a racist. Because if he told her that this is what white women do, then he's a racist. You see?
And this is so much bigger than Sunny, bigger than Gutfeld, bigger than one disastrous Tuesday morning. Because those 2 minutes cracked open something the mainstream media has been carefully hiding for years. The whole format is a fraud. The talking points are recycled, the outrage is pre-scheduled, the panels are stacked, the audiences are trained, and the moment someone walks in with genuine receipt-based accountability, the entire illusion buckles like a stage set left out in the rain. The View was never designed for real debate. It was designed for consensus theater, a daily ritual of nods, claps, and reassuring affirmations. Gutfeld didn't demolish the show. He just yanked the curtain back and revealed the show had been hollow the entire time. Every future episode now has to live in the shadow of that one broadcast.
More time to talk. And I thought Will Smith wouldn't let a black man finish. If her IQ was half as high as her smugness, she'd be Einstein. And later it got weird after Whoopi Goldberg asked a question and Sunny chimed in again.
So what happens to Sunny now? She'll probably return to the same seat, the same lipstick, the same well-rehearsed indignation. She'll deliver a thoughtful monologue about growth, a vulnerable little reflection about learning in real time, a carefully polished speech about the journey. And her studio audience will applaud, because that's literally in their job description. But the internet? The internet doesn't clap on command. The internet has that clip archived, cross-referenced, memified, and ready to fire the second she contradicts herself again. And she will. They always do. Because hypocrisy isn't a slip-up, it's a full-time gig you maintain until somebody finally hits record. Greg Gutfeld didn't win a debate that day. He didn't even try to win one. He just held up a mirror. And for the first time in her career, Sunny Hostin didn't recognize the woman staring back. The cameras will keep rolling, the show will keep airing, but the mask, that's gone. And once a mask like that comes off on live television, it doesn't ever really go back on.